All right, here we go. Welcome. What does it say here? There's an error. You need to change the resolution. Expected resolution is 1080p. Why is that expected? Let's see. No, seems to be going well enough anyways, though. All right, let's keep it pushing. All right, so today, just stating what we're doing. So we're gonna do a new thing, kind of like a speed review of what's been previewed so far for The Hobbit. So everything that's currently unique, so not the special variation of the cards, just the unique cards, everything that's revealed, and I'll give myself about 45 seconds per card to talk through it, standard, limited, talk through the card itself, and see how much time we can make on it. See if we can get through real quick, because you don't want to dawdle on too many cards. So I'll do that first. Once we're done with that, then we're gonna go ahead and get into some gameplay. Only have one new deck to play today, and that is a mill deck. I have not run into anyone playing mill in standard. I've played the deck once on my own. It did win against Jeskai Control, but that's one game. So I want to see how it does in 3 or 4 more matches. So that'll be today. So it won't be that long of a stream, but that will be for today. So let's hop in. So this is the format. So I built a little system where I can feed it in some Scryfall data. It can grab the card images. I can set time challenges. I didn't do the more advanced, like time crunchy ones. I just gave myself 45 seconds to read through the card, talk through the card per card, and any shorter cards that I talk through really quickly, then those are the ones that will save me more time for future cards. And we'll see how much time I can actually save. If I can average basically better than 45 seconds per card is the goal, with no overall constraints this time around. So let's get into it. So I'm flying around. So I control it with my keyboard here. And let's start, because I have not been seeing many of the cards at all. So most of these will be new to me. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait, before I do that, make sure this audio is playing. I have these temporary headphones. Because my other headphones are charging, so I can barely hear the audio. Turn it up for myself. So just be some light music in the background. All right, so now we'll get started. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. An Unexpected Party, a 4 mana with 2 white pips enchantment. It has an adventure. So at the door for X 2 and a white, it's a sorcery adventure. You can create X 2/2 dwarf creature tokens. Okay, so you can make a bunch of creatures. That's fine and dandy. On the enchantment side, as this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. Creature you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. So presuming that you choose dwarf, this is a engine in a can. Fill your board with dwarves and then make them all 4/4s. This is in limited, this can just be your game plan sometimes. So yeah, in standard, if there's a tribal, they might want this too. Yeah. All right, next one. Azog, Moria's Ruin. 2 and a black for a 1/3 legendary creature that's a goblin soldier. When Azog enters, destroy up to 1 other target creature. Its controller amasses goblins X, where X is that creature's power. If you control that creature, draw a card. So you can take out one of your creatures and get a creature of that power size as an amass, or you can make your opponent's creature just a dumb amass token. In limited, that can be dangerous if they already are on amass, but yeah, so it's a removal if you need it, but better use on your own things. So in standard, probably not, but in limited, yeah, it can find use, especially on your own things. All right, next one. Bard, King of Dale. So this is a 6 mana 3/5. It is 4 and then a white and a blue. Bard King of Dale is a human noble archer with reach and vigilance. If you would draw a card except for the first one you draw each of your turns, draw 2 cards instead. So it's in your draw step. So your first draw, fine. And then if you draw another one, then you get this. So if one or more tokens will be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. So another one of the token duplication spells that are in standard. We have a number of them. We have Elspeth, we have the Angel. So you can just have token duplication tribal. So in standard, if that becomes a deck, yes. In limited, yeah, for all your dwarf tokens, this would be good there too. All right. We get a nice little sound whenever I don't go over time too. So that's nice. I'll turn that down in post. Seems a little loud to me. Bard the Bowman, a 3 mana 1/3 legendary creature, a human archer. It has reach. Whenever you draw a second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature against lifelink until end of turn. So looks like a limited card, and it's placed to draw your second card on a turn. It's not restricted to like counting specifically your first one, so it can be your first one at your draw step. So that's decent. So in standard, probably not, because it doesn't really do much as a body. Like a 1/3 isn't great in this meta, with even if it has reach. If the body was better, there might have been a world, but yeah, it's not quite good enough. But in limited, you will have some times where this can grow on your board. All right. Bjorn the Fierce, a 5 mana 6/6 2 green pips. It is a legendary bear shapeshifter warrior. That's an interesting set of tags. Okay, it has trample, and other bears you control get +2/+2. So it's a bear lord. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a trample counter on up to 1 target creature you control. It becomes a bear. Oh. Then if you control 3 more bears, draw 2 cards. So bear tribal, just bear tribal. So if you have bears, lovely. But it can make its own bear tribal. So that's interesting. In limited, this is going to be a bomb, because as you turn your things into bears, your board just gets huge. And then you can draw 2 cards. That's pretty nice whenever you do that. So yeah, limited, and you might even build a deck around this in standard. All right. Bifer, Melodic Rider, a 6 mana 4/5 with 2 hybrid mana symbols of red and white. It is a dwarf bard that is legendary, and it is storied, a new thing for this set. If you control 3 or more artifacts, legendaries, and or sagas, you can have an enduring story for the rest of the game. So it's like the city's, I think it's the city's blessing, where you have 10 more permanents, but you are storied once a permanent enters and gives you storied. So whenever Bifer enters or attacks, you put with a +1/+1 counter on target creature. As long as you have an enduring story, if an ability of a dwarf you control triggers, that ability triggers additional time. So it's a dwarf synergy card and doubles their triggers. So unless there's a dwarf deck in standard, I don't see it there. But in limited, your dwarves are going to love this card. All right. Let's go. Bilbo, Luckwear, a 2 mana 1/1, 1 blue pip in there. It is a legendary halfling rogue. It has an adventure, a 5 mana adventure at that, Burglar's Plot. It is a sorcery that says exchange control of 2 target non-land permanents that share a card type. So trade your trash for their treasure. I guess that's the best way to handle that. Cost 5. Just sometimes in limited, you can make a good trade on that, but it really depends on the board state. The creature itself, it can't be blocked, and whenever it does combat damage to a player, draw a card and discard a card. So not as good as just draw a card, but you will be able to cycle through things pretty well. If you want to put some coats on this to make it do more damage, you can do well in this in limited, but in standard, probably not. All right. Bilbo, Thief in the Night, a 2 mana 2/2 legendary halfling rogue. There's 1 blue pip in that cost, by the way. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 1 less to cast. Whenever Bilbo attacks, you may cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell from your graveyard. If an instant or sorcery spell is cast this way, will put. Ugh. If an instant or sorcery spell cast this way will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So when you're using things out of your graveyard, like things like flashback, so you be able to use that from the graveyard, it gets exiled no matter what, but it did cost less for that. There are some avenues to this working in standard, actually. Like there's a lot of cash from graveyard effects right now, so you might see this in standard. In limited, actually, maybe less. First one where I did not have time. But all right, let's see. No more time in my bank. Let's go to the next one. Bolg of the North, a 5-mana 5/5, 1 black, 1 red. It's a legendary goblin soldier. When Bolg enters, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Bolg deals damage equal to that creature's power to another target creature. If excess damage was dealt this way, amass goblins X, where X is the excess damage. So enters, sack a thing to kill a thing, and if it dies and you did more to it, you get to amass goblins. Very specifically useful. You really need to have something that you would not mind that has a large power to sacrifice. So you hope that it's a removal spell when you exactly need it and your board is good enough to withstand that sacrifice. In limited, you're going to find room, but not in standard. Got 2 seconds back. Burn, Tree and Fern, a 4-mana saga. So the first step of the saga says it deals 6 damage to target creature and opponent controls. So this is straight up just a removal spell, specifically for limited. 6 damage to something will kill most, if not everything, in the environment. But there are more steps. So destroy an artifact an opponent controls on the future turn. And then 2 turns, and every turn after that, you add a red mana. So it's like if the limited burn spell was sorcery speed, but had ongoing effects. I think that makes it even more playable in limited. I still don't think it has use in standard though, except for like a sideboard-ish card maybe. Yeah, sideboard all-star. That is in Japanese. I'm gonna have to come back to that one because that shouldn't be the standard version from what I pulled up. I'll do that one later. Desolation of Smog, a 4-mana spell with 2 red pips. It's a sorcery. Desolation of Smog deals 3 damage to each non-dragon creature. At 4 mana in any combination of colors, spend this mana only to cast dragon spells. So, it's free if you're planning on playing a dragon that turn, and it deals 3 damage to everything. This is actually almost exactly what dragons need in standard to do well. Because there is a trade-off of, do I get to play my big thing, or do I get to clear the board or address the board? And if you're not advancing both of those, the deck kind of can't get ahead. So that actually makes sense that this spell will be made. Yeah, actually, I'm really liking this. I'm going to put this in several standard decks, dragon decks. Yeah, I'm going to be using this quite a bit. In limited, yeah, just a good board clear. You want to draft the dragons, of course, but you want to keep your average creature size above 4 toughness, but you can find a way in both. This is good everywhere. Eagle of the Great Shelf, a 5-mana 2/5 bird soldier, 1 white pip in that cost. It has flying. Whenever the creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 till the end of turn for each other creature you control. So, every time it attacks. Okay, so your go wide gets an immediate payoff from this. Doesn't matter what they are. Whenever you attack, this just flies in with a very good body. Oh, this is going to do well in limited. This is a good threat. In standard, this is not a good threat. It costs a little bit too much. If this was 4 mana, I think you might be good here. Someone's going to try, but I'm not going to. But yeah. Elrond, Moonreader, a 3-mana 3/3 with a blue pip in there. A legendary creature, tongue twister. Elf Noble. Whenever you activate an ability of a creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So activating any ability gets you to draw a card. That could be very useful. It's only once per turn. And it's on rate. It's 3-mana 3/3, so you're not losing much on that. You can pay 7 mana though, and exile up to 2 other target non-land permanents you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So you can blink 2 things for 7. I mean, cool. I mean, in the meantime, you can get some abilities that you can coordinate around this, but I would need to see a whole lot more to make sure that I want this in my deck. It is odd for blue to have a on-rate body, so I guess that's the good way to have this in your deck for blue. But other than that, I don't know if that's going to be good. Definitely not in standard unless there's a specific deck. Elven Raft Steerer, a 3-mana 3/2 elf pilot It has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, choose one. Tap target creature an opponent controls, or untap target creature you control. So you can tap their stuff or untap your stuff. You're going to landfall. If there's any fetch lands in limited, you're definitely going to be able to manipulate that quite a bit. Yeah. In standard, actually, this isn't limited to once per turn, so you might find this in standard, actually. Landfall, tap down all the blockers and get through. Or landfall on your opponent's turn to get a blocker. Yeah, this might actually see standard play. Gandalf, Goblin's Bane. Hey, a 3-mana 2/3, one red Pippin that cost. A legendary avatar wizard. It has an adventure, Flame Shape, for 1 and a red. It's a sorcery that says, look at the top 2 cards of your library and exile them face down. For as long as they remain exiled, you may play them if you control a wizard. So a little bit worse of an impulse, but presumably you have a wizard the next turn. So what the creature itself has, though, is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Gandalf gets +1/+1 till end of turn and deals 1 damage to his opponent. So it has prowess, but better. Prowess, but pings. So it can kill the opponent on its own without ever having to swing, but when it does swing, it'll hurt. It doesn't have any evasion, though, but it could be a nice cantripping engine in standard. All right, Gollum, Riddlemaster. A 2-mana 3/1. A legendary creature that has a halfling horror. As Gollum enters, choose odd or even. 0 is even, for people that didn't know. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana of the chosen quality, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Okay, so you can just pick, and then you can put a +1/+1 counter on Gollum, or each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, or you draw a card. When it says one that you haven't chosen before, I presume that means ever. So you can only do each of those one time ever unless you flicker it. So that's a lot for a 2-mana card, though. Yeah, in limited, you're going to love this. In standard, maybe. Iron Hills Blacksmith, a 2-mana 1/1 dwarf artificer with double strike. All right. When this creature enters, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Axe. With equipped creature gets +1/+0 and equip 2. So it makes a standard 1 power buff equipment. So it can equip on the next turn and become a 2/1 double striker. So that's a threat on its own. And if you have an equipment synergy going, you kind of just want the extra tacked on equipment without having to dedicate a slot to it. So definitely unlimited. And if there is an equipment deck in standard that cares about the number of equipment, you will have this in there. Last Light of Durin's Day, a 2-mana enchantment, 1 red Pippin the cost. Whenever a mountain you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. If it has 6 or more quest counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, search your hand and or library for a dragon card and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle, of course. And you can mountain cycle it for 2 if you don't want to. Oh, very nice. All right, so if you get 6 quest counters, you get a dragon, just any dragon. So it does take a while to get this to happen. But if you're specifically focused on landfall, I can see you forcing your way to it. And you can mountain cycle to find it with other copies of it too. A little slow, but I can see you can building a deck for this in standard. In limited, might be a little too slow, but we'll see. My Precious, a 3-mana artifact. So a legendary artifact equipment. It has an Allure of Power adventure on it. It is an instant spell, though, and as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature to draw 2 cards. So, pay 2 sack and draw 2. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. Equipped creature has hexproof and can't be blocked. Oh, that is nice, actually. It has a little bit of a high overall cost. 3 to play, 2 to equip, and 2 life. But once you have it equipped, that creature is in a nasty spot. This will see standard play somehow. This is a reason to be in equipment in standard. On both sides, because you can have tokens all over the place. This is going to see play everywhere. Orcus Goblin Cleaver, a 3-mana artifact. It's a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has trample. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, choose a creature type. Create a token for each creature you control of that type. Oh, it's a It's a typo kindred payoff. Okay. You just get treasure tokens and treasure tokens over and over again. All right. So the equip cost is high at 3. So you have to pay 6 on the turn you want to equip it. A little high, but if you can find some cheaper equip abilities, a way to equip things for free, lovely. Otherwise, yeah, you need to be building around a typo situation to make this worth a slot. I'm not sure though. In limited, more likely though. So, Part in Friendship, a 5-mana enchantment with 1 green pip in there. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. If its mana value is less than or equal to the number of lands you control, put that onto the battlefield, otherwise put it into your hand. Put the rest onto your bottom of your library in random order. This ability triggered only once you turn. So, this is a nice protection for your key creature. Like, you get your big bomb out there, your opponent says, I'm just going to kill that. You can just get another one right away of the exact same cost or value from your deck, or you can just put it in your hand. Yeah, it's a little slowish. You'd have to be a really specific Protect the Queen kind of deck in Standard, but if you are, you want this in your if you're playing green. Riddles in the Dark, a 3-mana instant that says look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. We've seen this effect a number of times. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand and another into your graveyard. So we've seen this effect before. 3 mana is actually a decent cost for that. So it's basically a draw the 2 worst cards, or you can play a little game to get the better cards from your opponent in their choice. Yeah, I can see this finding a way to play. Yeah, especially if you don't care if the cards go to your graveyard anyways. This is going to be very good in a lot of standard decks. So standard gameplay, absolutely. Limited, absolutely. Roads Go Ever On, a 2-mana saga with 1 white pip in the cost. The first step, search the library for up to 2 basic plains cards, exile them, then shuffle, you gain 2 life. All right, then you deck up some plains and put them aside. For the next 2 steps, you can put a card exiled from the saga into your hand. So you can grab a plains, put it into play. Lovely. So it's ramp. That's the next turn and the next turn to guarantee it, and your opponent can't make you discard it. All right, but on the last step, whenever you attack this turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each plains you control. So at the very least, presuming that you had a plains to play this card, your creature is going to get +3/+3. It's a moderate benefit, but I think the ramp is the main key here over the few turns to guarantee it. Yeah, definitely unlimited and standard. If you're in white, you might want this anyways. Sylvan Reveler, a 4-mana 3/2. Whenever this creature enters, draw a card. It's an elf citizen, by the way. And then you discard a card. If you discard a land this way, put it from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Okay. And it has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may pay 1, a green, and a blue. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. So it has some graveyard recursion on itself. So wow. Yeah, so you can draw a card, discard a land, to just play it anyways. So you can ramp if you have a land in your hand. Yeah, any landfall deck loves this card. Yeah, in limited, if you're playing landfall, great. And if you're in standard in landfall, you just start ramping up. If your goal is to ramp, yeah. Smog the Magnificent, a 4-mana 4/3 with 2 red pips in there. A legendary dragon, a flying haster. Whenever Smog attacks, he deals damage equal to the number of treasures you control to any target. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a treasure token. So if you're already on treasure tribal where you're just building up treasures, then he's going to come in, swing, and just deal damage immediately. Lovely. But over time, he will build up to be able to do 1 damage and then 2 damage and 3 damage, as long as you're not using your treasures for other things. So good, solid creature, and especially you're going to want to be running treasures in some way to be playing it, but in standard, we're going to find a way to get this going. Absolutely. Sting, Bilbo Sword, a 2-mana legendary equipment. It has flash even. When Sting enters, put a hone counter on Sting for each creature target opponent controls. Attach Sting to up to 1 target creature you control. So a Sting counter gives the creature +1/+0. So the wider your opponent's board, the larger the attack bonus the creature that you attach it to gets. The equip is higher than the cost, but that's because when you flash it in, it attaches anyways. So yeah, so you can do a big chunk of damage to try to get you out of a situation when you have evasion, when the board's just very wide. So Yeah, it's not really defensive unless you're trying to combat trick someone to kill a creature. So in standard, I don't know. Limited, you're going to catch someone with this. Stone by Sunlight, a 2-mana instant. Choose one. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, or until end of turn, target creature becomes an artifact in addition to its other types and gains indestructible. That's flavorful. Like you made it a solid structure, and now you can't destroy it. That's pretty cool. So it's protection or it's removal. We'll fly. It's protection or it's removal. So both ways you might want. The sword target creature power 4 or greater is not often something you kind of want to dedicate a card to unless it's a very specific meta in standard. So I don't know. But in some situations, maybe. Like maybe against Gear Hulks. In limited, you're gonna want one of these. I think you're gonna run the first one of these you get. Supper for Spiders, a 2-mana instant that says put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in your opponent's graveyards are put there from the battlefield this turn. They are food artifacts with pay 2, sacrifice, gain 3 life. So basically, this is a post-board clear or post-trade effect where you can get the ETBs of your opponent's creatures, but you only get that. You just get their ETB again. So if you value those ETBs, this is a good sideboard card. Otherwise, I can't really justify it unless you really need those artifacts. Yeah, so if you need a lot of artifacts or you need those ETBs, that's very specific. I'm not sure how this gets played anywhere, but probably as a small trick in limited. The Arkenstone, a 5-mana legendary artifact. It has an adventure on it. Seek the Heart for 2 and a white. It is a sorcery that says, search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. All right, so I think this is our second legendary creature card fetch. There's the spacecraft that does it too. So some redundancy on that effect, all right, for legendary creatures. The actual artifact itself, though, creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. So 5 mana on the turn you play it, 5 mana draw a card above your board. That's something. So it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You kind of want it to be like a part of an engine that you're trying to build. But there's a deck that can probably be made from this, especially in older formats that want legendary searching. The Chief Warg, 4-mana 3/3 with a black and a green and a cost. It's a legendary wolf. It has menace by default, and it is ferocious. Whenever you attack while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Now, ferocious is a returning keyworded effect in that we've seen things that happen because of a creature that has power 4 or greater being on your battlefield. So good to see this returning, and it is a decent creature in that if you let it swing once, you get to replace it, lose a life, and if it doesn't die, you just keep getting that value. I don't mind that. Definitely unlimited. In standard, I don't think so. This fly is trolling me, just flying everywhere. All right. The Eagles are coming. A 2-mana instant with a white pip. It has kicker for 2 and 2 white. Choose target creature you own. If this spell was kicked, instead choose any number of target creatures you own. Return each chosen creature to your hand. At the beginning of the next upkeep, create a 4/4 white bird soldier creature token with flying for each creature returned to your hand this way. Okay, so it's a protection spell that saves your stuff or just puts it in your hand if you want to reuse it, but then you get a bird for each one of those on the way back. So, oh, you can build around that. It's expensive for the kicker version. That's 6 mana, 3 white and 3 colorless. That's hard, but definitely a fun one. Definitely unlimited. The Great Goblin, a 3-mana 3/2 with 2 hybrid pips of black and red. It is a Goblin Noble that's legendary. Whenever you put one or more counters on a goblin, orc, or army you control, the Great Goblin deals 2 damage to a target opponent. Whenever another goblin, orc, or army you control dies, exile top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn. So it's the Amass Lord. That's interesting. And that's probably a commander deck that's been looking for this all their life. In terms of standard and limited, there's going to be synergy definitely unlimited for this. You're going to play this unlimited. In standard, there might be a new goblin because goblins have some support already. This might be great there. The Lonely Mountain. It's a mountain. It's a mountain land. Taps for red. It enters tapped unless you control an equipment. So in your equipment decks, throw it in there. If you're in red, you're probably going to be in red anyways. You can pay 5 and tap it to make a dwarf. It costs 1 less to activate for each equipment you control. Okay, so it can eventually get down to pay a red and make a dwarf. It's pretty cheap. I mean, it's just a land, but a land that can make you a dwarf for no real drawbacks later on and just build your board slowly. Yeah, this might just see play without equipment in your deck sometimes, but equipment will help. Yeah, this is going to see play in everywhere. The Lord of the Eagles, a 9 mana 8/8 legendary bird noble. That's large. It has flash. That's nice. The spell costs X less to cast, where X is in the total power of creatures you control with flying. Flying. Oh. Oh. That's a big birdie. So this could be a 2 mana flash 8/8 flyer. If you have 7 power of flyers on the board, that's pretty nice. And anything, wow, if you just have 2 power, I'm still liking that ability because it has flash. Yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great in limited because you can focus around it. And in standard, there's plenty of ways you can try to focus on getting flyers that have a lot of power. Yeah, that's great in both. The Master of Lake Town, a 3 mana 3/2 with 2 black pips in the cost, is a legendary human advisor. It has Death Touch. Whenever a player loses life, that player mills that many cards. Okay, it's a replacement. When the Master of Lake Town dies, draw a card for each graveyard with 7 or more cards in it. Oh, so it's a mill lord. So it turns your damage dealing that may otherwise be feeling like a waste of time into also mill. My mill deck that I'm playing later today does not have black in it, but when this card comes out, black might enter the picture because this is a great lord that replaces all the damage and make it into, yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, I'll be playing this everywhere. Yeah. The Misty Mountains of Cold, a 3 mana saga. Create a treasure token. Oh, wait, all 4 of these steps are the same. Okay. Create a treasure token. Then, if you control 4 or more treasures, sacrifice a saga. If you do, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. So if you cast this and you already have 3, the first step of this sacrifices it and you get the dragon right away. So it can be a 3 mana 6/6 flying dragon if you already have 3 treasures on your battlefield. And this will fill that gap over time, and eventually it will give it to you anyways because it'll give you all those treasures. Just don't use them. Yeah, this is going to see play in limited all the time. In standard, there's red decks that make treasures now, more specifically. So yeah, this is going to be standard too. The Mountain King's Return, another saga. It is white and 2 colorless, so 3 total cost. The first step is Recruit. So Recruit is a newer mechanic where it's like Connive, where instead of putting a +1/+1 counter on something, you make a 1/1 human soldier. So you draw a card, discard a card, you discard a non-land, you get the ability. So that's Recruit. The second step, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So hopefully you're discarding a creature that costs 3 or less, and then you can get it back instead of losing it forever. And then the third step, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, or up to 1 target creature, so you can choose not to. So this is going to go into Oculus. Very specifically, Oculus just got a new toy. This is going to see a standard all the time, and then also unlimited. The Queen of Dale, a 2 mana 2/1 legendary human noble. There's 1 white pip in that cost. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, you recruit. Oh, so it's a punish. It makes you get wider each turn that your opponent casts a non-creature spell. So on their turn and on your turn. So if they're constantly interacting with non-creature spells, you can fix your hand together and get some extra width on your board. And if you have tokens enters benefits, even better. This is a great little counter card. I don't know if you'll play it natively, but good as a sideboard card. In limited, you're going to play it too. Thorin, Mountain King. A 4-mana 3/4, 1 red Pippin that costs a legendary dwarf noble. It has trample. Whenever Thorn enters, attach any number of target equipment you control to target creature you control. So not even it, to anything. Nice. When one or more equipment become attached to that creature, that creature deals damage equal to its power up to one target creature. Oh, so you cast it, all the equipment glommed on it, and then the total power after the equipment's on it gets dealt to another creature. So it's a removal for creatures, but also very useful to just get it all in one creature. Oh, I love this card. Yeah, this is the equipment deck right here. Yeah, standard. You found a key card in your deck in limited. Throw all the equipment in your deck, and this will get a good removal into play for you. Thorn Oakenshield. All right, a red white. This holds 2 mana. Legendary dwarf noble that has a 3/2. It has trample and it is storied. As long as you have an enduring story, artifacts and creatures you control have ward of 1. Okay, so permanent protection of ward 1, especially if they already have ward or something that it accelerates that. That's not bad. If you're storied, that's just great. Before you're storied, it's 2 and a 3/2 trample, which is not bad in the meantime. But yeah, good protection item. So some, especially in decks where you have equipment on creatures, they're a little bit vulnerable to removal. So having this on play is very good. So this might be good in that deck. Thranduil, the Elven King. Oh, hold on. Pausing. Duct tape. We're previewing the Hobbit. So the Hobbit is the next Magic the Gathering set that's coming out. I believe it's the first or second week in August. It's standard legal as opposed to the previous set. So this is straight up just the Hobbit, though. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's the Hobbit itself. So, yep, that's what we are previewing today. I'm doing a little speed challenge so I can just get through the cards. 45 seconds per card, seeing if I can get through each card without blathering on and on about too many cards all at once. So that's what we're doing, Duct Tape. Glad to see you there. All right. And this is like a interface that I built to do this, where I can pause it and I can like go through the cards and I don't have to cheat the timer or anything, and it just handles it on its own. So, all right, let's keep it going. Thranduil, the Elven King, is a 5-mana 5/6 that has a black, green, and blue pip in the cost. It is a legendary elf noble. Thranduil has all the activities of all elf cards in your graveyard. Okay, whenever another can't speak. Whenever another legendary elf you control enters, draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Well, that's a great elf lord. So you just all the elves in your graveyard just morph into this guy. So and once it has summoning sickness off of it, it can tap for basically any of those things. That's nice. In limited, you're going to want to build towards that. In standard, you can definitely build a deck towards that. Only specifically, we're talking about usefulness in standard and usefulness in limited. That's the debate that's live, going back and forth. Tom, Bert, and William, a 5-mana 5/5, a black pip and a green pip in that cost, a legendary troll. There's a lot of folks out there like that. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. Draw a card equal to that sacrificed creature's power, then discard a card. Oh, that's unbounded. Okay. When Tom, Bert, and William die, if they were a creature, return this to the battlefield. They are an artifact. Oh, so then you can still use the ability. Okay, so this gives you a benefit for any removal your opponent tries to use on your creatures. As long as you have 1 mana per creature. Yeah, as long as you have 1 mana per creature, you can just get a benefit and draw cards off of that power. That's pretty nice. Yeah, definitely in limited useful. I'm not sure about standard. Why not useful in modern, legacy, vintage, and EDH? Because I don't play those very much, and that would be a lot to jam into 45 seconds. But primarily because I want to speak on things that I actually interact with regularly enough to have some sort of an opinion on it. I know that Commander is a driving force for many of these kinds of cards, so I might mention Commander every now and again. But yeah, limited because I play a lot of limited, and standard because I play a lot of standard. If Pioneer made its comeback, I would be definitely interested in reviewing in terms of Pioneer as well, but Pioneer just seems so dead right now. I really can't justify measuring, oh, this is good in Pioneer. Like, who cares? One day, Pioneer will be back and we'll be. I'm not giving any opinions on the rares and mythics in the pauper format. That is not a thing that I'm going to do because you can't do that unless it's been rapidly downshifted. The effect of all those rares and mythics on pauper is 0. Absolutely nothing. Just my wild guess. That's all I'm gonna presume that be the answer for that. All right. What do we have here? What else? Oh, this is a reprint. So 3 mana 1/1 green pip into cost. It is an elf scout. Whenever the creature enters, search your library for a forest card, put that card onto the battlefield, and then shuffle. Notice it doesn't say basic forest card. So that's any forest land that's your dual lands, that's your either shock or even full dual or anything that has that forest type. Put it on a battlefield, not even tapped, and then shuffle. What a great return. Yeah, green gets richer. Wait, that's not good. All right, let's see play everywhere, though. Oh, we're done. We made it through all the cards. I think it was supposed to be like 44 cards. That took about 32 minutes and 52 seconds. All right. Not bad. And I ended with 8.8 seconds in the bank. So I must have averaged 44-ish. Basically about 44 seconds per. And I had a bonus for the card that I had to skip because it was all in Japanese. So yeah. Wood Elf, you know what? You got me. One of the last cards. Wood Elves in Pauper already was legal there, but I will say it's still good there if you're running forests. I'm not sure what synergies you're going to have with that, but there you go. Definitely useful there. So that is that. Let me go back to here. So yeah, that was my first time trying that one on stream. I think that's a pretty good format. I need to cut out the middle transition between cards. I used to have it where it displays more than one card at a time, and then that transition made sense. But when doing one card at a time, that's a little bit harder to navigate through with the buttons. So I'm going to work through that. But now we're going to open up Arena and try out the one deck that I built that was new. I have a bunch of decks that I've been playing a bit, but not much else is new. Arena is loading up right now. Why did this music keep stopping? Okay, there we go. If they sponsor me, that'd be lovely. All right. All right. So now we're on to Arena. Let's switch over to Arena. Come on, catch up. There you go. All right. So the deck of the day. We're going to be in ranked. Well, we're renaming that to Millie. So straight up mill and standard, and not even fully focusing on Riverturn Monument, which is weird. So yeah, it's rather fresh. I've only played it one time. It did win, but I don't take much out of that. So yeah, let's explain this deck. So this deck is the mill deck that I built. It is blue-green, and it is inspired by Expedition Tidecaller. So it is a 1 mana 0/2, rather vulnerable to removal. It says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 3 cards. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast that spell, that player mills 10 cards instead. So for that, we do have Season of Weaving here, in case we ever want to throw that, cast that big spell to get a larger mill. And there's a one more in the sideboard for River's Rebuke, but that's not really the goal because we're trying to just speed cast spells, not just do the one big spell. There is an option in the future to lean more towards bigger spells, but not quite yet. The redundancy that we have is Glacierwood Siege. It is a 3 mana enchantment that's been a standard for a while. As it enters, you can pick Temur or Sultai. Temur says when you cast an instant or sorcery, target player mills 4 cards. Similar to language, right? So this one's 3 cards, this one's 4 cards. Or you can alternatively set it to Sultai and play lands from your graveyard. I don't think I'll ever want to do that unless I'm really stuck on land for some reason. And then why would my lands be in the graveyard if I don't have any fetch cards? But anyway, so Temur is what we'll be putting that on. Outside of that, what else we have in standard that wants to cast spells? Lessons. So we have a lessons package. So we have Grand, Boomerang, Basics, and Abandoned Attachments. And what do you put in your deck when you're playing all these? Storm Chaser's Talent. That's the bundle that goes together. And that's the spell casting soup du jour in standard. And because we're going to be bouncing the Storm Chaser's Talent with the Boomerang Basics quite often, I also have Scrabbling Skullcrab, another mill outlet, where this one says whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, target player mills 2 cards. There are no rooms in this deck, but there are enchantments. So we have Fear of Isolation and Fear of Imposters. They're both of our enchantments that can pick up, and Isolation can pick up talent and replay it. Imposters can be a counter spell, and then you can pick the counter spell up with Fear of Isolation or Boomerang Basics. And as those get replayed, you get the mill there. So it's a 2 angle of mill, and this is enchantments as well. So it's kind of like a synergy package here of bouncing and playing enchantments with spells around it in the lessons package. And then Accumulate Wisdom later in the game to refill, draw 3 cards at once if you have 3 or more lessons in your hand, in your graveyard. But if you don't have 3, you only get to look at one of the top 3 and put that in your hand. So you don't want to be playing the sad version where you're only looking at 1 card. Talent, yeah, talent is also enchantment, yeah. Namor. What? How? Oh my goodness, you're right. Do I even have any copies of that? Oh, look. Shout out Duct Tape. Live in action. We should have Namor in this deck. That we are casting a lot of blue pips, aren't we? If you're casting blue pips, you do want Namor in your deck. I will craft. This is kind of a side mission, not the main goal of the deck. I will add 2, so I'll craft 1 to get that done. All right. So what are we dropping this to fix this? So we are going to drop. Because this is kind of the damage element. There's a lot of draw here. I would say let's drop an attachments and also start with, yeah, Namor is definitely a good alternate win con. I'm glad you mentioned that because I've seen this card played quite a bit, but it does not come to top of mind actually very much. So yeah, live in action, we're getting this swapped out. How many land are we playing? 23, which is about right for this kind of deck. I think we do want 2 so that the alternate win con can be seen. We dropped a draw. Maybe 1 less crab because the loop of the crab doesn't happen that often. And you kind of just want to see that sometimes. And we'll be drawing enough to find 1. I think so. Yeah. Let's go with that. So, since we have an on-the-fly improvement, let's go from there. So Namor, a 3 mana star 4 legendary mutant merfolk villain. It has flying and his power is equal to the number of merfolk you control. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with one or more blue mana symbols in its mana cost, create that many blue 1/1 Merfolk creature tokens. So this card has been a hit in spell slinging decks in that it just gives you a wide board that has a very damaging flyer that supports itself when you're playing other blue spells. And since we're essentially mono blue, if you're just looking at Glacier Wood Siege as the smallest splash, and like Origin of Metal Bending, yeah, you're going to be using a lot of blue pips, and you're going to have a lot of Merfolk on the board when you have those on the board too. So that is a great pickup. Otherwise, this deck is as simple as it looks. It's lessons, it's spell casting for instants and sorceries, and also Namor sometimes. We also run Aetherize as a board clear of sorts against aggression, just a way to handle that board that got out of hand a little, like a turn too early. When they swing in for that kill, just bounce them all to their hand and give you some more time to try to mill them out. Then Season of Weaving, also similar idea. Bounce everything that's not a token to their hands, and hopefully you can deal with the rest. We do have some counter spells for interaction in Eloquentia and Fear of Imposters. We have Bounce and Boomerang Basics. In the sideboard, we have some more counter spells. Flash Freeze, Get Out, Disdainful Stroke, Negate. So we can go more control-y on the main when we need to. Torpor Orb, creatures entered don't cause abilities to trigger. So we want this when we're facing someone that really needs those ETBs. And that is when we would swap out some number of Fear of Isolation and Fear of Imposters to balance that out. One more Aetherize and then a River's Rebuke. But otherwise, not much surprising in the sideboard either. It's a mill deck. Let's give it a run. All right, so where's Millie? All right. All right, first match in Baja style Taco. Okay. All right, single mana. Turn 1 play talent, turn 2 Boomerang Basics talent to draw the card? Or is it turn 1 Exhibition Tidecaller, turn 2 talent? No, it has to be talent first because we need to find that other land. But this is the hand. We're a 23 land deck, so sometimes the one landers are going to need to be things you keep, and we are low enough of a curve where this should be fine. As long as what they do first isn't somehow kill the talent, we're fine. Okay. Sleight of hand from the opponent, our Festive Fighter. We didn't find the land, so talent and punished. All right. Lovely. Bellion. Oh, so this is Elementals. Looks like mono blue so far, but we're not sure. So now what do? We have 3 Accumulate Wisdoms in hand. Let's try the talent. All right, no stop there. And then let's play. We have 1 lesson in graveyard, so Grand doesn't do too much here. Let's Tidecaller. Get in for 2. Not blocking that Bellion for any reason. No. Would love to draw a land here this next turn. We're keeping 4 mana open. All right. Well, I'm going to. So here's the question. I think I want to get damage in. They can't cast Crab right now. So I'm going to swing in and I'm going to accumulate vision once I attack. I mean, accumulate wisdom once I attack. And that'll start getting the accumulate wisdoms up to the higher value. Alright. We mill. So milling helps them a lot. So this is basically one of the worst matchups for this deck. We need to be able to neutralize their ETBs after sideboarding and put in our Soul Guide Lanterns to kill their graveyard. Right? Yep, exactly what I definitely thought it was. No blocks. And they have their own name more. So, simple mirror match. Playing similar games. We found the land, that's nice. We have a fear of imposters now. Fear of imposters good for something, not for much though. I want to... The question is, do I need to keep Fear of Imposters up? They're going to cast spells and go wide here. I think we need to power towards being able to cast these spells easily. Alright, so they had the counter spell either way. So... No. There's our Namor. But we really want the land too. Oh, Wishes Wisdom was active. Oh, we really want that land. But we also need a blocker. We do have the Fear of Isolation. Ooh. So they're at 43. Mill is far away. I think Namor's too heavy of a cast on its own here. So I'm gonna go for the land. No attacks. Yeah, this is an awful matchup for us. I mean, we'll block a 1/1. All the mana in the world, probably a crab on the backup. What's Wisdom? No. So they had a counter and a crab. Total of... So I got a block. Yeah, I got a block. Damn. That's 9. Oh, they top right. Sorry, now I'm dead. Alright, so... They are a Namor deck. Full of counter spells. So Soul Guide hurts them. River Churn doesn't help. Wait, River Churn gives, like, them putting things in their graveyard is worse if I have the River Churn. Negate, so they're a heavy counterspell situation. The question is, do we go away from the if you go away from the enchantment mill side and just get our get outs for the creatures, our disdainful stroke for the crabs. I don't know about Aetherize. Stopping the crabs from tapping is interesting. The Sunderfolk. I don't know if they run too many Sunderfolk. I think they run like 2 or 3 Sunderfolk because of the Namor. But we also don't care because we don't have many more ETBs. So let's drop one, that one. let's drop a draw. Putting these back in their hands, not the greatest. Drop in attachments. Drop one more isolation so that we're more focused on stopping their game plan. Yeah, I think that's the way that we can find ourselves to winning. We did kind of we made a bad choice of keeping the one-lander, so we were behind the whole time. All right, so this is decent. Grand gun on 1, orb on 2, or leave Quincha up. But I don't think we have to worry about Quincha up on 1. Okay, so since... Alright, so we're gonna orb. Actually, we can't orb because this is a tap land. So let's... Grand. Huh. So we can drop an Aetherize. We'll play a Jador tapped and then go from there. Because then Cascade comes into play on tap next turn. Alright. So now we want one more mana so we can have Quincha up. There's the one more mana. We can drop a basics for that. So next turn, we don't care about any of that. That's not a creature. We just want time here. Oh, you're Soul Guide Lanterning me. Well, if you're doing that, I want you to spend your turn doing it so I can play my Torpor. Because I really don't care about my graveyard. And I'm not sure what they think my deck is. Swing. Drop island. We have enough land now. Alright. There we go. You don't have any of our mill cards. Alright, we gotta get out. That's decent. Let's swing. Okay. Not enough for a crab. A consult, that's cool. Just for 2, so they wanted the 2 mana up for a counter spell that they're keeping there. Good to know. Sleight of hand, they're digging. And again, I don't care if you're digging. I just need to stop what you're doing. Don't wanna. No. Alright, lands, draw, go. I'll drop an Aetherize for that. And I'll play a talent. I'm gonna 3-steps this. Bouncing her. I mean, that's interesting. That part I don't quite understand. Yeah, Grand is quite the clock there, ain't it? Yeah, I don't understand that one. Why are we bouncing Grand? Like you really needed the cards in your graveyard? Okay. Because I already attacked with it that turn. Alright, swing. Dropping attachments. Alright, Soul Guide, Get out. Cool. Yep. All right, and Grand is online. All right. So because they have so much mana now, it's easy to toss the crab. Oh, that's valiant. That's interesting. All right. A swing. That's a quandary, actually. Let's do that then. All right. Let's play Tidecaller. Petrified Hamlet. I don't know what you name, but it must have had another crab in their hand. And if so, they might as well play it on their turn, because playing it on my turn doesn't help you. Won't tap anything down. Alright, so let's do this first this time. Alright, still countering spells. Alright. Hey. Hey, to be fair, that is putting them on quite the clock. Try to cast Namor. Alright. I would love to see... I would love to see a good copy of my wisdom card. To be clear again, this is a bad matchup. And they've been waiting to kill my wisdom card with the lantern. No blocks. Now I want to find River Turn Monument. Let's try that. Well, they at least got that discount. Alright, so they're out of crabs. I guess let's grab the siege. So it really just counter everything. Alright. I'm not good against... Block that. Oh, so Grand can draw me a card. Yeah, high card is the worst thing here. Yeah, it was just a handful of just counter the spell deck. And now I'm mad I took the Aetherizes out. I'm mad that I threw the Aetherizes away. Let's go ahead and just swing in because this game's over. They have two flyers that I can't do anything about. Yep, 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 yep. Hedge maze. And they're all the land up. Alright. Okay. Gran had to go. She was putting in damage, but we did not draw the. We had Aetherizers in our hand that we kind of dipped to try to find our actual mill cards that we didn't see until way later. So part of that is not keeping the right kind of hand, but otherwise, I think there are plenty of ways to get through to winning that game, particularly if every card in their hand isn't a counterspell. That would be a better situation for me than that. But, see how game 2 goes. Alright. Oh, that's a lot of land. And then an Accumulate Wisdom and an Aetherize. This doesn't do anything for me. Namor does, though. Alright, so I'm not sure if we need Aetherize yet, so I'll toss that. So tap lands. So first has Maze. I probably don't want to play Wisdom on 2. I want to play it after I play Namor. Actually, okay, second. That's too many. But the pool made it clear for me. That's good. Fabled Passage on 1. Oh, we got some new stuff. We want some indestructibility. That's nice. Ooh, I shouldn't have played that. I should have played Jador. I should have played Jador tapped there. And I can eventually bounce the claim the kingdom before they get the full triggers, actually. Alright, so this is a landfall that has a creature they want to keep in play. Oh! That's nice. So here's the thing. You can just die to Tifa. But I think we have to risk the biscuit here to get some defenders on board in case she doesn't just kill us. Because bouncing here only delays her 1 turn anyways, so it's now or later. Alright, Grizzly Bear. Didn't have a land drop? Oh, missed it. Okay. So what we're going to do is Exhibition Tidecaller. We're going to accumulate wisdom. See what we got going. 1 million. We want another wisdom. We are going to bounce Tifa. Like this Spice versus Spice. Both actually unique decks. Yeah, this onesie-twosie pace, unless you have multiple high powers, it can be a drag. Alright. Tifa can be a problem next turn, because that's double-double. So that can be... Wait, what can do that now? They want to swing with Bill? That's interesting. Alright, so let's... Wisdom. We want a little bounce spell here. We found it. Alright, we play Talent. We bounce. We play Tapped Pool. We swing in for 6. Yep, just 6. Now they die next turn. If they don't do something about this board. Okay. I got a blocker. That's nice. But turns out I can do that. Oh, that worked better than I thought it would. All right. So we were slowly doing damage to their deck here. We're gonna really want bounces and creature counters. Counter target red or green spell. I guess technically that has to come in. Creature entering. No, that doesn't make a difference. Aetherize is kind of slow. Is there anything that we want out against them? Don't run any tokens, so that's good. Fear of imposters. They can manifest something that can really be bad for me, so I can toss that. And no, I like bodies. I'll run a 61 special. I just need to make sure that I'm mulliganing for exactly interaction early. In other situations, I would love this because I know I'm going to draw spells, but they're going first. I'm going for the love of the game here. This is all the juice that you ever want out of this deck. So I'm just gonna see how that goes. All right, so let's play a bird, and then we're gonna play Rand. Next turn will be Collar and Crab, and then the following turn is Siege. And hope that turn 4 is where they try to do their push. Yeah, we're just having to hope for best case scenario here. Claim on 2. I love to see that. All right, and that lovely. All right, so Islands, Tide Caller, Crab. I don't want to discard anything from my hand. I'm not attacking. I want to reward my deck if it does have a land for me on top of my deck next turn. I think I play Siege instead of Talent next turn. Unless I have a 2-mana spell that I draw. Then I'll play Talent instead. They are taking their time here. And to be fair, I do need to draw some instants or sorceries that aren't just Aetherized, though. Aetherized is the one I want, but I still need another land for that to be exactly what we need. And Aetherized gets away from them being able to protect something with a direct a hexproof. Alright, so now they have a creature. They have Grand. It's a great blocker in case we were going to try to attack with it. And they can get something indestructible, which we don't care about if Aetherized. We found the last land we needed. Alright, lovely. So we're going to go Optimal. Is Optimal Talent or Siege? Optimal, I believe, is Siege. Because if we don't need to Aetherize, then it gives us room for talent and other things. Siege would be too clunky in terms of our mana on the next turn. Alright, tapping specific blue and green to play a second Claim to Kingdom. poison up. Gran's gonna be indestructible. I didn't think Gran would be the one to turn, but it may need to be do nothing, hold up for Aetherize. Parker's camera. Do they run that spell that doubles a power? Let's pay 2 life. Let's swing in. See another card. It'll quench you. Alright. With it'll quench you, I'll drop that. I don't believe that spell that doubles it. Oh, actually, you only need to double it once. I think it costs only 2 to get that double through, though. So I have to leave this up. I have to leave both Aetherize and it'll quench you up here. If they just attack and do nothing else, because taking 8 is fine. Alright, let's go ahead. Alright, got rid of a Tifa. Put the two Tifas, put the Mockingbird back in their hand. You have a counter spell and a buff. Right, just counter spell. Because now we need to find a way to get rid of this Gran because they had the counter spell in hand. I mean, having exactly what you need to protect that. So the play there, if they use Quandrix Charm to make it a 5/5, and then it'll quench you, they Spider Sense anyways. So whatever my play was that I chose to do, I was done for because I don't have a flying blocker. Unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is sometimes. I think this is fine though. Yeah, I don't think we played anything wrong there. It just we got what we got there. All right, Gran. Play that. Play Gran. And we can hold up mana for any of these 2 spells. They seem to love Evolving Wilds only one, so. Which to me means they don't play any other 1/1 cards straight up. Sure. I will discard the crab. No enchantments in hand. Why keep it? I can flash freeze a Tifa. I don't care about claim. It's more about Tifa. Alright. They are passing. I will accumulate wisdom. Alright. We got an island. So island means I just want to play Namor here. I like all my cards, so no attacks. So, because this is what beat him last time. And they went shields down to counter a bad accumulate wisdom. Never stop an enemy when they're making a mistake. Lovely. Alright, so the thing is, I don't want to discard either of these spells, so I'm just gonna swing for one. Look for something worth discarding. Keeps the flash freeze up for Tifa. I can't stop the Mockingbird from copying a name logo. That I can't stop. Oh, nothing. Alright. I think that's worth it. Doing a pre-combat so we can get more damage on the attack. Not that interested in that. Draw the 2. Alright. Alright. Your go, opponent. My clock is actually real now, not just a grand. Man War Elves. That can be an indestructible elf at some point. Nice. Alright, so I'm going to bounce the elf, because it seems like they're struggling to find a creature. Alright, and then I'm going to accumulate wisdom. Wandrick's Charm. I'm going to counter that spell. You have no colored mana right now. And we have Season of Weaving next turn. Very nice. I don't believe we need the untapped land. So let's put that tap. Let's swing out. I'll discard a land, no matter what I draw. Hey, Paisan! Alright, they're pretty much cooked here. Unless they're secretly Aetherized Enjoyers too. I think they're good and smoked. Because Season of Weaving will bounce whatever. Alright, so that can be a 2/2, a 4/4. That can be real big. Alright. An indestructible. So the plan next turn is swing out anyway. It is indeed indestructible. And you got a forest, so you can't even counter my spell. Alright, so you're dead. It's even an Aetherize. Alright, so if I swing, they have to block 2. I think they just die. I'll discard. Yes, they're just dead. They block 2, they take 6 in the sky, and then 4 more on the ground, so 10. Yep. At least that was a fun game of a weird deck versus a weird deck. Let's see that. Form a posse. What? What is that? What does that logo mean? Single card. What? I'm gonna have to look up in the patch notes what that means. Yep, win's a win. I hopped in the queue like they hopped in the queue. What do they want me to do? Concede? I mean, counterspell. I mean, this does a thing. It's not our thing. We're here to see the thing. Oh, why is it so polarized? Grand technically can make us see another card. I'm going second. Is the biscuit worth the risk? I mean, if it pays off, it pays off, right? So, yeah, why not? Oh no. All right. So Grand dies, and I don't draw a land. It is GG. Neither of those things happened. That is actually insane. The Aetherize, I don't know if that's good in this card. I do want to play Namor this next turn. Cornucopia? I actually don't want to play that. And then we will... FOMO is less good. It's a threat, but it's less good here. Yeah, it's less good here. I presume they have a way to kill Namor, though. Still gotta play it. Everything. Alright, so... Look him if you got him. Bold. Alright. Got a lot of mana. Hit him with that G-Door is going to be interesting. Green. All right. No 22. What kind of deck you running? Thor's improvisations, together as ones. Together as ones, Thor's. Avenger disassembles. Alright. Interesting. Let's go ahead and play So we have Fear of Imposters up. So that's a bounce. Fear of Imposters up and a Boomerang Basics. You may manifest. Turns out, if you can't counter me milling half your deck. I definitely did put that Dave Distance into the world. I didn't see uncounterable things. I didn't see anything that I really couldn't handle. They're not playing blue, really? Huh. The board's going to be destroyed all the time. That we can't avoid. In terms of red and green spells, Together as One is what they're after, it seems. Together as One and Thor are their main, actually their only win cons. Yep, so it's just Together as One and Thor. So I can negate Together as One. Artifact and enchantment wise, it's just Ancient Cornucopia, probably some other stuff. I don't know about Get Out on just Thor. Reverse Rebuke, Aetherize, Counter target red or green spell. Counter target red spell will keep me alive. This is Disdainful Stroke. Red or green spell. Torpor Orb is cute, but not the best. In terms of what they're gonna do to me, they're gonna be killing my stuff a lot. So I think the Crab talent is probably gonna be good. Season of Weaving, probably not. Namor, they're gonna be so hot on that one's tail. Drop an Isolation and call it a day. All right. Breeding Pool, Willow Rush, 3 accumulate. I mean, this does what we need to be doing, but it's not doing what we need to be doing, if that makes sense. Like, it's negate's great, wisdom to dig a little bit, the basics if we draw other things. Is this about resources? I think it is. I think they hated the matchup. They were over it. Like, they didn't want to wait to get tossed. Yeah. All right. Well, that was... I'm definitely going to have to figure out what that logo means. But yeah, that's 3 games. That wasn't a full game. I think I'll play one more. One more with the mill deck. Grand. Oh, yeah, this is a thing. All right, I got Grand. All right, maybe I talent first, and then Fear on turn 2. Yeah, I think it's talent. Talent on 1. Black. Duress. Nothing you can duress. I got rid of it. I made the correct choice. Alright. Verge. Pick up the talent. Threat on board. Clock established. Are you gonna focus on my hand still? Seems like it. Let's drop a grand. Okay. And the stream roots, and then we will. I think we want to quench something they do, so we're just gonna replay the talent. Get more threats out there, because their motivation is get the threats out of my hand immediately before I can get threats down, but I already did. I'll play a siege. Don't need to play lands from my graveyard. I do want the 4th land for talent though, so I do want to be able to pick up Quenchia or something from my graveyard with the talent. Alright, but I mean, we're gonna get rid of anyway, so I'm glad I did that. Alright, they're draining me. I don't grab it yet because they probably still have discard going. Let me cards. They're gonna die soon. Next turn if they don't get something going. They indeed did not get something going. All right, so I mean, being able to destroy an enchantment is nice. They're particularly vulnerable to counter spells. They're mono black. They can't counter my counters. They can't not be countered. Namor hitting down is great too. Season of Weaving is not a good idea. Aetherize is like awful idea. I think we start with this. We may want get outs. We'll wait until turn game 3 if we get to there. But they might want get outs. All right. I mean, ew. But that is threatening. Talent into talent into talent while I look for lands, and then they struggle to pick my hand apart. I mean, gas is what you want against discard. Yeah, so you can discard Namor or Fear. Namor is what you want. Because I just need to get that threat out early. I need you worrying about 2 different avenues, not just the one. I'm really sure that Namor is the one you want. I don't think there's any other options. Oh, they must have other discard. That tells me they have other discard options immediately. Because Namor is definitely the one. And drawing that Boomerang Basics is nice. Maybe able to draw into a land with it. In the tank. Corsetto. Duress. Alright. So basics is what I don't want you to take. I'll prefer you just take a talent. but basic is correct because they see I don't have land. Yeah. I do it anyway. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Bam. Yep, working more. Back. Swing. Alright. So now, if I draw a land, it means I can get a spell back later. If I don't, it's probably a spell that'll buff these otters and I can swing in. Cycle. Fear of imposters. I like to see that. I mean, the Manifest Dread is not the best, but it's at least another threat. It is questionable because I would need to cast a spell to make sure that the otters trade with the 2/2. If what they're going to play is threatening enough, then is giving them a 2/2 worth me having a 3/2? Either they have a 1/1 or we have 3 1/1s. I think them getting the imposters is fine. So if I try to pull something back to my hands, they probably make me discard it. But since the card I'm getting is 1 mana, I can wait for 1 mana. If I draw another land, I can pull it back and cast it right away. So we're back. If they're swinging both bats every turn, I'm effectively doing 1 damage per turn, while they're doing 2 damage per turn. So it's a clock that's not in my favor. And I took my Aetherizes out. Well, now it's even, so that's not good. Crab is interesting. Seems that they're just drawing heat and not land, because they are as behind on land as I am, and 4 cards in hand. Probably cards that make you discard cards. Wow. Reanimate something, nothing to reanimate, so you can surveil 2. Would love an instant or sorcery, please. Would love one. A draw spell, specifically. I guess that works. So let's make you do that. I can kill Rao. I don't even doing card selection.
Well, back to Ravnica.
Don't need them doing that. You can spend the 2 mana if you mind roots. Crab activations. And now I have full on my turn loops for Boomerang Basics. They have to exile my graveyard. Now I'm set up. Demon. Oh, that was fast. Okay. Bounce the demon. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I should have bounced the demon. I'm messed up. Bouncing the demon was the correct move. And I fumbled that. At 2. Alright, so if they can do 1 more damage to me, I'm dead. They have to unlock the Annex Room, 3 mana, and have enough mana to do 1 damage with the last 3 mana. And if they want me near dead, they have to swing. Because otherwise I will be able to bounce the demon next turn. So if they don't swing with the 6/6, they lose the 6/6. Like that. 2 middling options. Imposters is a better option, obviously. Are you swinging with the 6/6 while you have a chance? I'll beat you up to 4. Namor. If I bounce, if I send 9 their way, they block 2. They have to block both. No, I can't kill them here. Yep. So I have to bounce the demon. And then I can swing through. lethal. They have to block at least one. They go to one. I keep this in my hand and pass. So if they draw a demon, I lose. It's on them. They get a demon, I lose. Need a demon or a way to deal 1 damage. Otherwise, they die to their own annex. Rather nice. Rather nice. What? Why can't I even read my cards? Arena glitches. Anyway, 3-1. Yeah. 3-1. Stop. So 3-1. One game was kind of a. They saw what we were doing. Hey, that deck building advice gave me exactly 1 win, and stalled another one. So that was great advice. Take it from everywhere. But yeah, the advice that I got was add Namor, and that actually made a big difference in terms of what I was doing. So does Mill work? Not really, but it could work. The threat and pressure of the Mill did have an effect in at least 1 game. The other games were won by the same package you've seen in every other deck of Storm Chaser's talent being looped over and over again, and then Grand being good. So we won based on the other element of the deck really being good, but the threat of the Mill was there the whole time. If we were a little bit more all in on the Mill, say we ignore the enchantment synergy, we drop the fear of isolation, we drop the fear of imposters, we go into more river turn monuments, more onboard in-deck counter spells. I think there were games where we could have just outright milled someone out, but yeah, I think the mill angle can work in the right matchup. I think the Otter one works in the other ones. Namor works in a different one. So it's really 3 different angles of attack that the deck has. I think it makes it a deck that you could play with. It's a fun deck. You're not gonna grind all the way up to Mythic with it, I don't believe, but fun. Give it a try. Let me know what you do. Let me know if you make any tweaks. Maybe it's 1 more Namor. Maybe it's more controlling. Maybe it's even more all in on the mill. Let me know what you guys do. Thank you for joining me on the path with this deck, and I'll see you next time. That's the stream for now. Yeah, so that's the stream for now. This deck was fun to play. We faced some wacky opponents that were one was only almost meta. I mean, I liked it. I will definitely tweak this in the future. There's a black mill spell. I mean, there's a new card that was in the previews. It was 1 and 2 black that turns all damage into mill. So that could take this, if you add black into another, like this 8 card slot could be a black splash that's bigger than the green splash, where your damage also contributes to the mill. So that basically everything is working towards the correct goal. So that could be what it is in the future. But for now, yeah, this deck is fine. Yep. Good night. Good stream. It was about 2 hours. I'll chop this up and get it in the video form. 2 videos. Next week, I will try to make 2 new decks. I mean, I have decks that I could re-highlight. Like, there's a Bant Toxic deck that I found. Um, kind of a combo-A deck with the old Molten Core and Color Storm that I could re-highlight again. But I really would want to build 2 new decks for next week. So next Tuesday, 2 new decks at least, and maybe if I find another idea, maybe a third. But yeah, definitely 2 next week. But good night, all.